the state director for Bernie 2020 in Colorado. So we are here on the ground. And just like y'all, I am feeling the burn. So we know that this is going to be a tough fight. There's going to be a lot of strong, powerful interests that are going to be working against us. So as of today, we need everyone here to be committed to help Bernie and us win this election. So here's what I need you to do today. Today, after this rally, after you hear the next president of the United States speak, right? I need y'all to go to map.berniesanders.com. That's map.berniesanders.com and sign up for a Win Plan house party. So what we're going to do is we have thousands of volunteers just like you, supporters, that are signing up to help us spread Bernie's message. Can Bernie count on y'all? So excellent. Go to map.berniesanders.com. Sign up for a house party, and better yet, why don't you sign up to host a house party? Invite your friends, family, co-workers, anyone that you know that wants to help us win, and let's get this message out. So this is it, guys. This is the revolution. This is the movement, and we are counting on you. Right? Thank you. map.berniesanders.com.
Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Emily Sirota, and I'm your state representative from House District 9, Southeast Denver. And I am so proud to have endorsed our next president, Senator Bernie Sanders. When Bernie talks about the political revolution, this rally is what he is talking about. We are all coming together to send a very clear message to our opponents, and they should hear us loudly and clearly. When it comes to health care here in Colorado, we have hundreds of thousands of folks who are uninsured and even more who have health insurance and can't afford health care. So to all the health insurance executives and their lobbyists out there, hear us loudly and clearly. We do not accept any more of our fellow Americans dying because they can't afford to pay your premiums, copays. And Bernie as president, we are passing Medicare for all. When it comes to our workplaces, big corporations have been busting unions and keeping wages down. So to all the CEOs out there, hear us loudly and clearly. Your greed is coming to an end. When Bernie is president, we are raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and we are passing new laws to strengthen unions who fight for workers' rights. And when it comes to the climate crisis, scientists tell us that unless we finally end the fossil fuel era, the climate crisis could end up killing 250,000 people every year. So to all the oil and gas billionaires and lobbyists out there, hear us loudly and clearly. Your desire for more profit, I'm getting there. Their desire for more profit will no longer jeopardize our children's right to a healthy and habitable planet. When Bernie is president, we are passing a Green New Deal because Colorado, this is the most important election of our lifetime. We must defeat Donald Trump and the corruption in Washington to bring about. But we have a big choice to make in this primary. On one side are Democrats who berate Medicare for all, who oppose a Green New Deal. and who promise their wealthy donors that if elected, nothing will fundamentally change. On the other side is this grassroots movement. And we say the opposite. We say loudly and clearly that everything must fundamentally change. We cannot choose more compromise and more half measures. We need a leader who knows there is no middle ground compromise with Trump or with Wall Street banks and industry billionaires. We need a leader who will always fight for us and who will not be intimidated when the going gets tough. We have a leader like that in Bernie Sanders. He is the only candidate who has devoted his entire life to this battle, taking on Wall Street, the insurance industry, the drug industry, and the fossil fuel industry. While so many politicians run away from a fight, he has spent his life running headfirst into the fight for a better world. And now it is time for us to do our job and step up. We must fight as hard as we can to help him defeat Donald Trump and bring about the political revolution.
Representative Joe Salazar, otherwise known as the Chicano Bernie, here in Colorado. I'm an executive committee member of the Working Families Party. Oh yeah, and one of the things that I do on the side is I sue the hell out of the fossil fuel industry. You know, 4 years ago, we were here. That's right. He said a bad word, but that's okay with me. 4 years ago, we were here talking about who we were going to support for President of the United States. And I said that I was only going to support someone who had a record and the street creds for running for President of the United States. Someone who was willing to take on the big industries. Someone who was willing to take on corporations. Someone who was willing to take on the fossil fuel industry. And not just talk about having a policy for it, but actually doing it. And that's what caused me, one of only 3 state elected officials, to support Bernie Sanders. That's what caused me to endorse him. And here's the other thing, is that, oh boy, we're Colorado, and we got an independent streak on us, don't we? Oh, we don't like the establishment telling us what to do. We don't like the establishment telling us what to think. We don't like the establishment telling us who we're supposed to vote for, because we're adults and we're intelligent and we can figure it out on our own. And that's why, nearly 4 years ago, Colorado roundly supported Bernie Sanders for President of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, our hero, our leader, our next President of the United States, help me welcome Senator Bernie Sanders.
Denver. You look beautiful tonight. Let me thank Emelise Munez, our local musician who's all of 13 years of age. Let me thank Johnny Kaplan and Lazy Stars for their music. Let me thank Representative Emily Sirota for the great job she is doing. And let me thank Joe Salazar for his kind words. And before I begin, let me thank SCIU for standing up for justice in the fight against Kaiser. Thank you, Denver teachers, for standing up for education. Let me get to the point. And the point is, I'm here tonight for two reasons. First, I'm here to ask your help to win the Colorado primary. And with the turnout I see here, I think we're going to do just that. I'm asking your help to help me win the Democratic nomination. And then I am asking your help to make sure that we defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of our country. This country cannot have a president who is a pathological liar. We cannot have a president who is moving us away from democracy into an authoritarian type society. We cannot have a president who is a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, a xenophobe, and a religious bigot. Donald Trump, one term, you are history. And in the first weeks of our administration, we're going to begin the process of undoing the damage that Trump has caused this country. But not only am I here to tell you about the importance of defeating Trump, and I should mention that every credible poll done in the last year has us defeating Trump, sometimes in double digits. But I am here in Denver asking your support for something more than just defeating Trump. I'm here this evening to ask you to work with me to help transform this country and create an economy and a government that works for all of us, not just the 1%. I am here in Denver to ask you to wage with me a political revolution which will take on not only the corruption of Washington, but the greed and corruption of the corporate elite in this country. This is an elite that for the last 45 years has been at war with the working class of this country. We are tired of being on the defensive. We are going on the offensive. And today we say to Wall Street, we're tired of your greed and illegal behavior. Today we say to the insurance companies, we're tired of your greed and causing us to pay by far the highest prices in the world for health care. Today, we say to the pharmaceutical industry, we are tired of your greed, your corruption, and your price fixing. We are going to substantially lower the cost of prescription drugs in this country. Today, we say to the fossil fuel industry, that's one way of saying it. But what we say to them is we are tired of the fossil fuel industry putting their short-term profits ahead of the safety and health of the entire planet. Today we say to the military-industrial complex, we do not have to spend more on the military than the next 10 countries combined. And we will end U.S. participation in never-ending wars. Today we say to the prison industrial complex, we're going to end private prisons and detention centers. So what I'm saying here is that real change never ever takes place from the top on down. The history of America, whether it's the labor movement, the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the gay movement, the environmental movement, all of those movements and more have been successful because millions of people have come together to stand up for justice. That is what this campaign is about. It's a justice campaign. It's a campaign for economic justice, for social justice, for racial justice, for environmental justice. It is a campaign that says we will not allow Trump to divide us up. We are going to come together, black and white and Latino, Native American, Asian American, gay and straight, immigrant and native born. We are going to come together around an agenda that works for all of us, not just wealthy campaign contributors. Let me tell you what that agenda is about. That agenda recognizes something that is not talked about in the Congress, is not talked about in the media. And that is, today we have in this country a grotesque level of income and wealth inequality. It is not acceptable to me, nor I believe the American people, that three people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. It's not acceptable that the top 1% own more wealth than the bottom 92%. And at a time when half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. You all know what paycheck to paycheck is about? I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. At a time when tonight we're going to have 500,000 Americans sleeping out on the streets. At a time when millions of our people are working 2 or 3 jobs to put food on the table, 49% of all new income goes to the top 1%. So we say to that 1%, and we say to the corporate elites, that gravy train is ending. Under our administration, you ain't gonna get $1.5 trillion in tax breaks. You're gonna begin to start paying your fair share. What our agenda is about is saying that anybody in America who works 40 hours a week will not live in poverty. Because we are going to raise that federal minimum wage to a living wage at least $15 an hour. And we are going to end the absurdity of women in this country making 80 cents on the dollar compared to men. Not a radical idea to say equal pay for equal work. And because all of us know that we are not going to grow the middle class in America unless we have a strong trade union movement. We are going to make it easier for workers to join unions in this country. Not harder. We are going to do what every other major country on earth does, and that is to guarantee health care to all people as a human right. 4 years ago when I came to Colorado and I talked about Medicare for all, the establishment politicians and the establishment media said that's not what the American people want. Well, I think that is exactly what the American people want. That is what every single poll that I have seen in the last several months tells me. The American people understand that it is totally absurd, totally stupid, that we are spending twice as much per person on health care while 87 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured. That it is criminal, and I use the word criminal, that 30,000 Americans die each year because they don't get to a doctor on time. That it is barbaric that 500,000 people go bankrupt every year because of medical bills. We need a healthcare system which is not designed to make $100 billion a year for the healthcare industry. We need a healthcare system which guarantees health care to every man, woman, and child as a human right. When we talk about the needs of the American people, let us understand that we need radical changes in the way we do education in this country, from child care to graduate school. 4 years ago, I made the point that we have to rethink free public education and go beyond K through 12. 4 years ago, that appeared to be a radical idea, ain't so radical today. All over this country, states and cities are moving to make public colleges and universities tuition free. And I'll tell you what else we have got to do. We have got to cancel all student debt in this country. If this country and the U.S. Congress, against my vote, could bail out the crooks on Wall Street whose greed and illegal behavior nearly destroyed our economy, if we could give well over $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% in profitable corporations, yes, we can cancel all student debt. Do that by imposing a very modest tax on Wall Street speculation. We bailed them out. It's now their time to help the working families of this country. We have a president who believes that climate change is a hoax. Well, I believe that Donald Trump is a hoax. We are talking now about scientists telling us that not only is climate change real, not only is it already causing devastating problems in our country and around the world, but if we do not get our act together and aggressively go forward in transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, what they tell us is that within the next 11 years, the damage done to our country and other countries will be irreparable, unable to be repaired. We have a moral responsibility to make certain that we leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable for our kids and future generations. Extremely proud to tell you that I have recently introduced a proposal which is the most aggressive and far-reaching climate change proposal ever introduced by any presidential candidate. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Now, I am told by my opponents, and I'm told by people who represent the fossil fuel industry, that our proposal is expensive. And you know what? It is expensive. But what is the alternative? We will not and we cannot sit back and allow this planet to be destroyed. we listen to the scientists, we understand, and we all just saw what happened in the Bahamas. The destruction there, the incredible destruction. We saw what happened recently, a year ago in Puerto Rico. We must act and act aggressively, or else we will see more drought, more famine, more rising sea levels, more floods, more ocean acidification, more extreme weather disturbances, more disease, more suffering, more human death.
No more!
The scientists have told us, and unlike the current occupant of the White House, I actually believe in science. The scientists have told us that the cost of inaction on climate will put the entire planet and life as we know it on Earth in serious jeopardy. What they have told us is that if we do not act aggressively, hundreds of thousands of people will die each and every year from malnutrition, from heat stress, from malaria, and from other diseases. What they have told us is if we do not act aggressively, over 100 billion people throughout the world will be thrown into extreme poverty. What they have told us is if we do nothing, climate change could result in the mass migration and displacement of more than 140 million people in Latin America, South Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa by 2050. In fact, in 2018 alone, some 840,000 people in Guatemala experienced extreme food shortages because of drought-related crop failures, forcing families to choose between starvation and migration. According to a recent report, 500 million people throughout the world already live in places that are turning into a desert, where the soil is being lost up to 100 times faster than it is forming. If we do nothing, the CIA and the other intelligence agencies throughout the world have warned that the effect of heat waves, droughts, and floods substantially increases the risk of war, national security issue, because people all over the world, when they don't have arable land to grow their crops, when they don't have water to drink, they're going to migrate into other people's territory, causing national security crises. Brothers and sisters, we are facing one of the great threats that this planet has ever faced, and we are going to stand up to that threat. Whether the fossil fuel industry likes it or not, our administration is going to lead the world. This is not an American issue. This is a global issue. And my message as president to countries all over the world is to say we are spending now as a planet about $1.5 trillion a year on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other. And maybe, just maybe, with good American leadership, we can bring those countries together to spend that money. Spend that money on our common enemy, which is climate change. Nelson Mandela said something which was extraordinarily profound, and he said, quote, "It always seems impossible until it is done." always seems impossible until it is done. In other words, our job is to have a vision of where we want to go as a nation and as a world. Our job is to think big, not small. Our job is to understand that our major enemy are those people who deny us the right to have an imagination which envisages a new country and a new world based on principles of justice. Don't tell me, please don't tell me that the United States cannot provide health care to all as a human right. Don't tell me that we cannot make public colleges and universities tuition-free and cancel student debt. Don't tell me that we cannot create an economy in which we create millions of jobs, rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure and transforming our energy system. Don't tell me that we cannot lead the world on the global mission of transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel. Don't tell me that here in America we cannot create a situation where the women of our country control their bodies, not politicians. Don't tell me that the United States Congress is incapable of standing up to the NRA and passing the gun safety legislation that the American people are begging them to do. And unlike the Republican leadership in Congress and the President, this president will not be intimidated by the NRA. Don't tell me that we cannot reform a broken and racist criminal justice system which has more people in jail than any other country on earth. Don't tell me that we cannot invest in our young people in jobs and education rather than jails and incarceration. Don't tell me that at a time when 400,000 Americans today, right now, are behind bars for the crime of being poor and not affording cash bail. Don't tell me we can't end cash bail in America. Don't tell me we cannot end the incredibly destructive war on drugs. And thank you, Colorado, for leading the way to the legalization. That's what we have got to do nationally. And what we also have to do is expunge the records of those people arrested. And please do not tell me that we cannot end the racism and demonization of undocumented people in this country. On our first day, our administration will restore the legal status for 1.8 million young people. We will finally do what should have been done years ago, and that is to pass comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship. We will end policy which has American government officials grabbing tiny babies from the arms of their mothers at the border. We will develop a humane border policy using international standards for asylum. Brothers and sisters, this is an unprecedented moment in American history. What we are fighting for is the future of democracy and whether we continue to be a democratic society. What we are fighting for is whether or not we can save this planet for future generations. What we are fighting for is to end the drift toward oligarchy and creating an economy that works for all. What we are fighting for is to make sure that every human being in America has the right to go to a doctor when he or she is sick without out-of-pocket. So brothers and sisters, it goes without saying that we must and we will defeat Trump. But on the day after we together are inaugurated, we are going to have to come together by the millions to tell the corporate elite that their greed and corruption is going to end. We are going to tell the 1% that they will not continue to control the economic and political life of this country. We are going to put together an unprecedented grassroots movement which transforms our country. The message of our campaign is us, not me. No president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else can do it alone. So in this unprecedented moment in American history, let us stand up together, black and white and Latino, Native American, Asian American. Let us come together and create the kind of nation based on love, compassion, and justice that we know we can bring.